was supposed to be posted on 18th April to celebrate 31 years of Zimbabwe independence. Anyway, better late than never. On 18th April 2011, we said Happy 31st Independence Zimbabwe Day. And Zimbabwe is one of the oldest civilizations. In Zimbabwe, the place on earth where the first people walked on earth. Dynasties ruled Zimbabwe, and in 4 BC, kings, families held all positions of power. The Bantu migrated from the north, where the great pyramids of Egypt were built between 2614 and 2502 BC. Around that time, 4 BC, Zimbabwe had built one of the 7 wonders of the world, the Great Zimbabwe Ruins, which means house made out of stone. So we are looking at 4 BC, where we had dynasties in Zimbabwe. When we had great pyramids of Egypt built out of stone, yes, built between 2000 and 2500 BC, so is the Great Zimbabwe around 4 BC, all about great ancient African civilization. A quick look at the history of Great Zimbabwe, which means great home made out of natural stone, pure from Mother Earth, straight from the Garden of Eden, built by the first persons of Zimbabwe 400 BC. The name Zimbabwe means great home made of natural stone from Garden of Eden by Africans of 4 BC during the ancient civilization. From 10,000 BC to 4,000 BC, ancient Africans built Great Zimbabwe using natural stone, which means bre. Bre means stone, Zimba means big house. The Sun people of 10,000 BC, these were the Zimbabwe's early inhabitants, and foreign explorers disrespected them by calling them Bushmen, which is kind of derogatory, and they have short afro kinky curly hair, thick lips, and flat nose. From 1800 to 1980, blacks in Zimbabwe were enslaved and were denied basic rights to a decent education and living under separate development, which was unequal. Blacks were not given the same rights as whites in the southern Rhodesia or later Rhodesia. Blacks had to fight for their civil rights, and 31 years ago, it regained the name Zimbabwe. Now, 31 years of self-rule, yes, there have been stumbling blocks, for instance, embargo, and prior to self-rule from British, we had separate development based on skin color. Black people were denied good schools, forced removal from homes or ancestral lands, and poor townships or ghettos became their home. Laws were designed to isolate, demean, segregate, or discriminate, and were far from equal. Racism was the order of the day, and blacks were persistently taken advantage of, made to feel second-class citizens in their own country, and treated differently just because of their skin color. The brief history of Zimbabwe. From 10,000 BC to 2000 BC, we have the Stone Age, And from 1 to 300 AD, the Bantu tribes, unlike the San people, engaged in agriculture. So you can see agriculture dated back to 300 AD. And farmers, Shona people, were architecture and were agricultural people. The Shonas loved land to farm. From 12,000 to 1400, new wave of Shona dynasties. From 1480, kingdoms of the Harava, Munumutapa, Varoji, Chiefs Kaguvi, Nehanda, Mangwende, Chaminuka, and all the others. And then in the early 1600s, the Portuguese explorers tried to explore the interiors. Trade in Africa is great. And in the 1700s, Zimbabwe's wealth in trade booms and it becomes a shining country. In the 1800s, the slave trade in